Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the M42 Adventures Podcast. I am your host, Rick Trimmer, and today we have it's actually a very unique guest. As you know, you can tell from some of the branding behind me, we are working on our image here at M42 Adventures. This is not a hunting, men's group. It is a family-oriented, men, women, youth, all outdoor activity community. And so we are actually lucky to we've got Lydia Lee and her dad, Mark Lee. She is 13 years old and she is an avid martial arts student. And so we are very excited to have her on today. I've never met her. We're going to jump into this conversation here shortly and see what it's all about. So stay tuned. All right. Well, welcome you guys. Thanks for coming down here. Yeah, we were just chatting a little bit. So I had my son on. His name's Castle. And I had him on, 2 weeks ago, Ricky?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
And he was pretty nervous. So I know, you're 13, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little intimidating. It was scary for me at first. Still is a little scary. But appreciate you guys coming down. It's the day before Thanksgiving. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule. So I'm here with Lydia and Mark. Is that correct?
Yep.
And we've never met, but Ricky talks a lot about you. He comes in raving all the time. I know his life has been consumed. So what's the karate that you do?
Currently I do Kempo.
Kempo?
Yeah.
Kempo. Okay. So he's been on that journey for what, Ricky? 6 months? Something like that?
Since April.
You have a microphone. You put a microphone up for you, dude. Come on.
Since April.
So yeah, so he's been coming in here talking a lot about it, and it's been really cool to see, what his transformation and what he's going through. And do you guys know much about M42 Adventures? Have you heard much about it? What we're doing here?
Not a ton, just a bit.
So basically what we're trying to do is get people to get outside, get off screens and experience, more physical, fun, I think, activities, which karate falls right into that. And so Ricky went and signed up. We had a guy named on that's a Brazilian, he does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? And he's a black belt. His name's Kip Sorensen. He's a stud. And Ricky listened to that episode, and then he went and signed up right out of that. And so that's what M42 Adventures is. We're trying to get people to live the life you're living. We want people to not even just get outside or off screens, but what's cool about karate is you defend yourself.
For sure.
You can actually protect people and yourself. So you're 13, so how long have you been doing this?
Martial arts in total I've been doing 7 years, almost 8.
Wow. So you started way young, like 4.
6.
6. Wow.
Yeah.
My math. That's cool. So what Mark, do you do karate? What drew you to karate, Lydia?
So I actually when I was 4, I started out in dance. Like, my mom put me in dance because I have 5 older sisters, and she's put all of them through dance. And I lasted about a year. It really wasn't my thing. And so I actually grew up watching this XD channel show. It's called Kickin' It. And they do karate on it, and it has always really interested me. And there's this one episode about Shaolin warriors, and so my 6-year-old self, I was like, that's so cool. So I start looking into that, right? And so that I'm telling my mom, I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
6 years old. Yeah. That's rad. That's awesome.
And so I'm like, please find me some kind of martial art, please. And so, yeah, a few days later, she's like, okay, what kind do you want to do? I'm like, any. I'm up for anything. And so she finds me a South Korean martial art called Hapkido. And so I go to that class, and just the first class, hearing everything about it, and it's a new thing to me because no one else in my family has done this, and so it is the first time. That's what I want to do for the next little while, and so that's where it all started.
That's awesome. That's crazy. That's unique. I would say, especially 6 years old, to decide I want to go this direction. I didn't figure that out even yet. So that's impressive. And then not have, most kids get into what their parents are into. They just naturally, the parents are doing it, so I'll just tag along and I'll get into it. So that's cool that you kind of decided, hey, I want to go do this, and I'm good if nobody else is doing it. I want to do my thing.
Yeah.
I respect that. My mantra is one life, so live. And I believe that people you get one life, right? You get one chance at this, this game. And I respect people who follow their dreams. A lot of us, including myself, for the first, portion of my life, was kind of living what I thought my parents wanted me to do, and, peer pressure and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's cool that at such a young age, you've been able to kind of break that and say, hey, this is kind of the direction I want to go. And I think that is something that's going to take you far in life. So
Thank you.
Mark, what the parent aspect of this, she came to you and said, hey, I want to fight. You're just like, let's go. I mean, was that a little wild, especially with a daughter, that's even more unique,
Yeah, it definitely kind of took me by surprise initially. Lydia's always been a little bit different in the sense that she doesn't mind going different from the folks around her, especially her sisters. Like she mentioned with dance, she went her own way into martial arts. And I think initially it was more discovery, where she's trying to find out what it is, what does she need to do. And she improved pretty quickly and did spend a little more time focused on the mechanics of it all. As a parent, back then it was not a big deal. It was just martial arts, Hapkido, some drills. They did quite a bit of instruction, and I thought it was a good quality program. Coming south, we moved south here to St. George about 4 or 5 years ago. And
so you actually started somewhere.
Yeah, we were up in Lehigh initially.
Okay.
That's where the Hapkido studio was.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway,
so you had to change. So you had to change kind of what senseis and
Yeah, for sure, and like martial art
facilities.
styles and just everything.
So let's talk about that just for a minute, because I am very green at this. How do you decide, or first of all, how many types are there? Is there
Oh God.
just is there a ton?
There's so many. So like with like Asian culture as a whole, there's like so many different countries and everything, and each one has like 50 different fighting styles. And so because that's where like
there's hundreds,
there's so
thousands,
many.
maybe.
There's so many.
Wow.
And like some are very similar, but they're like their principles, their main principles are completely different.
So how did you pick? So what one? So you started in Hapkido, and now you're in.
I'm in Kempo right now.
Kempo. So is that the two you've done then? Basically?
No.
Okay, you've done a lot more.
When I was 9, that's when we moved to southern Utah. We looked at a couple different martial arts studios. We went to a different Korean martial art called Tangsudo, and I looked around at the dojo, and it's like it wasn't. It wasn't what I liked.
Yeah.
And,
what was that one called?
Tangsudo.
And what's the other one? What's the one you're doing?
Currently I'm doing Hapkido. Sorry, Kempo.
Kempo. That's crazy. It's so, for me it's Spanish, right? It's just like, so bear with me. But so you went to that one didn't feel right.
Yeah, so
they didn't have the one you were doing in Lehigh here?
No, they don't have it here.
Interesting.
That is because the guy who brought Hapkido from Korea to America, like his son is who I'm learning from, or I was learning from back then.
Wow.
And so it was like very direct, like this is exactly what they taught back in Korea. And so that's what I was learning when I first started. And then after we came here and I looked at the Tangsudo studio, I really didn't like it. And then we went to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fusion with karate. And I didn't grapple before in Hapkido, so it was like that's what it was at this dojo, and so I was very intrigued by it. It wasn't anything I had practiced before because it was like full contact, everything. And so I was like, okay, let's do that one.
Wow. So you started into that one, did that one for...
So I did that.
You're still doing that one. I guess
No.
you can do... I mean, do you have to do one, or can you... I mean, it seems like you could... If you have the time, you could do multiple.
Yeah, for sure. I went there for about 2.5 years, I think. And a lot of the instructors like were paid black belts. They're not... They didn't earn their belt. They don't know much about martial arts. It's like a lot of the modernized stuff I see today, and so just there's a lot of reasons I left that place, but that was one of the main ones. It wasn't what I was looking for, and so I took a break for a few months, and then I found Achieve is where I'm at right now, and it's my favorite place by far. I've learned more there than I have in like the 8 years
in your
I've been
whole
to
life,
school. Like,
in your whole,
so
in your
much.
entire life of 13
It's
years.
crazy.
That's awesome. So Teague, right?
Yeah, Teague.
Sensei Teague
Sensei Teague.
is your instructor.
Yeah.
He's actually going to be on later today, right? We have a podcast with him at 12:30. So he's in our community.
Yeah.
And he's a mentor in there. So we just
For sure.
brought him in, and I'm excited. I'm excited to, you know, the way M42 Adventures works. We have an online community where people, you know, can have access to this all over the world.
Yeah.
And so he's going to come in. He has his Zoom call today at 11 or something, 11:30. And I'm excited to learn from him. You know, it's funny because I'm 6'5", right? I'm 6'5", 230 pounds. And Teague comes in, and he's smaller, right? He's like, I don't know if he's 6 foot, maybe 6 foot.
I think he's around 5'11".
Is he?
Yeah.
But a smaller guy, you know?
Yeah.
And Ricky's like, bro, that guy would kill you. And I'm like, really? Like, I think I could take him. And he's like, he would kill you. And Kip talks about that, you know, my buddy Kip. He says, it's scary now. He says, I do not get in street fights at all. You try to get away from them because you don't know.
That's right.
With these types of skills, people are dangerous.
Exactly.
And that's what's drawing me to it. I have never taken any of this stuff, and I want to get into it and learn. But it's very scary what you can do with your body if you know how to maneuver it.
For sure. T, he's one of the coolest guys I've ever met, and he's very young still. But yeah, I would hate to be on the wrong side of that guy.
Yeah, that's what Ricky said.
So cool.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to have him on. It's cool that you're actually going to his dojo. That's what you call it,
Yeah.
a dojo.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's a cool connection there, you know. So you've been doing, how long have you been doing Kempo?
Kempo, almost 2 years in January.
Okay, so a
Yeah.
little while.
Yeah.
And you enjoy that one? That one's really,
Yeah,
really cool.
I really like it. It incorporates many like different styles, and it's like English, you know, how it has different languages
yeah.
inside of it. That's like Kempo. It has all the good things from different.
Oh, that's good. Like
martial
a
arts.
combination.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. That's good to know. Because I've been trying to decide, and I think people out there listening that are intrigued by this, it's like, how do I pick?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do I pick and I like the fact that you said you went into the dojo and you looked around and you're like, maybe this isn't the right fit, the right feel, you know, because I think a lot of people just sign up and just go. I would, you know, it's like I look in I'd say phone book, but those don't exist anymore, showing my age. But look it up and go in and walk in and sign up, you know, and it's like, no, do your homework. That's actually a really good thing from this is do your homework. Are these people, we talk about that all the time, right, Ricky, with your mentors. You know, anytime you have a mentor, make sure they're qualified. There's a lot of that going on with social media and stuff where people are acting rich or living this fancy life and they're really not.
Yeah.
And so that's cool to know. That's what with Ricky when he was talking about Teague, he's like, this guy's the real deal. You know? And when he came in, it's not what I was expecting. When he walked in, you know, Ricky's like, this guy's name's Teague. He's got his own dojo, his own business. That's hard anyway, just to start your own company.
For sure.
He walks in and I'm like, what? You know, like that's not what, and so I admire that as an entrepreneur.
For sure.
And so, so I want to talk about real quick. So you have done a tournament, right?
Yes.
What was that like? Let's talk about that for a minute. How was that? Where was that at?
Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
13. This was
Okay, you just did it?
This was in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like? Was it pretty scary?
Yeah. I'd
A lot of
never done a
butterflies?
competition before.
I can't imagine just getting up there, one, in front of people, and then two, were you fighting somebody or was it like a demonstration?
No, I participated
fought?
inside of it. Yeah.
And how was it? What'd you feel?
It was completely different. I had never done any competition before. Like I've been through, or like then I'd done like 18 or 19 belt tests, but that was not. It's just not the same.
A whole nother level,
right? Because the competition was jiu-jitsu, it was grappling and stuff, which like is fine, all right. So I had around 2 months to prepare for it, and like I worked hard and I came out second, so I feel like that's
awesome.
decent.
That's very cool. You know, I think that's another thing. One of our mottos here at M42 Adventures is there's so many people who say, you know, read the books, listen to the podcast, you know, but they don't do. They don't sign up and actually go put themselves in uncomfortable situations. You know, so I admire that as well. You know, it's scary to go out there, especially fighting. And that's a very personal, I've only fought, I haven't gotten in any fights growing up. I never really had it. And people just kind of stayed away from me because of my size, thankfully. I scared them off before they tested me and whooped my butt. Mm-hmm. But Ricky, we went and did jiu-jitsu with Kip, and Ricky manhandled me, you know, and it was a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling to have, as you know, Mark, you can probably, you know, agree with this, but it's like, I'm a big grown man and Ricky's over there like making me do things I don't want to do, bending my arm and making me cry. And I'm like, and it's a very emasculating thing.
For sure.
And so it was cool. When I interviewed Kip, he said something that's really affected me, because I am nervous to walk into a gym and sign up new and look like an idiot. And he says, Rick, us black belts, we respect the white belt almost as much as anybody because we know how hard it is to come in the door. And I'm like, whoa, that really affected me, you know, because I'm thinking they're judging me like, oh, this white belt, here we go. But they already have respect for that person because they know how hard it is to walk into a competition or a dojo and put yourself out there saying, I'm new, I'm going to get my butt kicked.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
So I respect that a lot. I think people listening, you know, it's really cool that a 13-year-old is on this podcast, and hopefully there's people out there that are going to be much older saying, hey, if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, so you just signed up out of the blue, and or how did you decide that you were wanting to compete?
So, okay, a bit of background information. The reason I started, like, originally was because of, like, the interest in Shaolin.
Ricky crawling around on the floor.
And then...
Keeping the cameras going. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're okay. And then when I was around 8 years old, my sister's boyfriend at the time, Michael, he did MMA, and that, like, I watched
what is MMA real quick?
mixed martial arts.
What is that, like a combination of them all?
Yeah, so if you've seen UFC,
yeah, I watched the UFC. I used to watch it a lot.
That's what MMA is.
So those people. So when you say MMA, is that a type of fighting, or is that just a broad category of all of it?
So you can't combine all of them safely, but you can combine the main few that the majority of people do. Okay, so like judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling,
boxing,
with boxing, kickboxing, and like a lot of bases for people are taekwondo, which is also Korean, or karate, of course. And so it's like the main ones that are like
universally accepted.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I got you.
And then so that's what MMA is, and so that's what my sister's boyfriend was doing at the time. And I had watched him, and I was like, that is the coolest thing ever, and you could do that professionally. Like, whoa. And so that's what struck my interest in, because from then on, I want to be a UFC fighter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So for the competition, back to your question originally.
That's cool. That's wild.
I told my instructor that I wanted to be in UFC, and I'm like, I don't want this as just a after school activity. I want to like train to be like on top. Like that's what I want. And he said, okay, so let's start getting you into competitions and stuff. Are you up for that? I'm like, of course. And so he found an opening at
this is Teague?
Yeah, Teague.
Cool.
For sure. And so he found me an opening for this competition, and so
you did it, and you loved you're even more hooked. It didn't deter you. It made you want to go more.
No, it helped.
That's cool. That's wild. Yeah, Ricky had mentioned you want to be a UFC fighter, and I'm like, that's crazy. I just watched. Did you watch the Tyson fight?
Oh, of course, yeah.
The Tyson fight was hard to watch, right? That was difficult. But the girls, the
women,
my
God, that was such
I got
a good
emotional. You know, I was sitting there with my wife, and I got emotional just at the end of that. You know, it's like they battled, man.
They did.
That was like probably the cool. I used to watch UFC a lot back in the day. I haven't watched it for a long time, but that was one of the coolest fights I've ever witnessed.
Yeah. Taylor and Serrano, that rematch, that was like well needed for
Yeah.
sure. And it was very like inspiring, and like
yeah.
it's seriously so entertaining.
Oh,
Like
it was so cool. Just like I was so nervous when she cut her eye. I'm like, stop the fight. Like you
Yeah.
can't fight like that. And then she didn't, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's hardcore. So
she's a beast.
Yeah.
She's really cool. Even though like boxing isn't my favorite sport to watch. Like I'd watch UFC before I'd watch boxing. But,
yeah, me too.
But they made it something to watch.
That was
really cool.
that saved that night for me, because there was so much hype around it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. So with you, Mark, how, again, I want to touch base, how, with you knowing all this as a father, are you all daughters?
Yeah, all daughters, 6 daughters.
Okay. So I've got 3 boys, and my wife's pregnant with a daughter right now. So my first daughter is going to be here in January, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait to have a little girl. Careful what you wish for, right? That's what my buddies all tell me. But what's it like having a daughter who wants to just be a UFC fighter? How do you feel about that? You guys are smiling, you're laughing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a running joke in the family that I talk to the girls and basically raise them from a male perspective. That's all I have. And so talking to them about values, about discipline, practice, all those kinds of things in whatever field they decide. And that's been my focus, is to try and find ways to be supportive without steering the ship, so to speak.
I love that.
You let them choose what they want to do, find
100%.
ways to support how best you can. And that's something I think, the concept of fighting and the possibility of injury and all those things is, of course, a concern. But part of our decision process when we went to Achieve was to interview and talk to different studio owners throughout the area.
Yeah.
And finding the right person and the right program so that she's actually prepared for that eventuality gives me a lot more peace of mind.
Absolutely.
It's something where I feel like if she puts in the practice and dedicates herself, she'll be ready. And then injury's possible, of course, but it's better if you're prepared. And that's something I think she's done a great job of, to try and find ways to practice and innovate and
mitigate that.
Yeah, so that she can be successful.
I love that. I like how you said, because I parent the same way. I think Ricky knows, where I do not, I tell my boys, I don't care what you do. I do not care what you do. You don't have to do, anything that I do. You can write your own path. But like you said, do it well, be a student, keep your word, just learn those values, and so, I think that's awesome. I think that's amazing. I think that's a great way to parent. Personally, I 100% agree with that type of style. And like you said, I have a boy who wants to play football. I never played football. He loves football. My wife's like, I don't want him to get, concussions and stuff. And I says, listen, if this is his dream, there's ways he can learn how to hit or how to be hit or better gear, or, we can mitigate. There might be a circumstance where something happens. But you can alleviate those through proper training. Yeah. So I think that's like what you're saying here.
Yeah, and that first competition I thought was very telling, because there were 6 different matches going on all day. So over and over again, you'd see competitors enter the ring. And several times throughout the day, ambulances were called.
Oh, wow.
To provide medical assistance and help people.
Yeah.
And as a parent, you're watching those those ambulances roll up.
Wait a minute here.
Yeah, it's not too late. We could pull the plug.
Yeah.
No, it's something that watching her face that possibility, you have to dig deep in a lot of ways to just stay there.
Yeah.
And then to step into the ring, she didn't mention, but she actually competed in a weight class above. And of course, a higher ranking competitor was her final match. And I think that she did phenomenally well. And to come out of that first time encounter with real competition and these bitter rivalries, so to speak, was amazing to watch. And I'm sure she learned a ton about herself. And that's something I'm proud of as a father, that she's able to step into these situations and find meaning, find a way forward.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing that intrigues me about martial arts is like I said, I had never done much of it. My dad, actually, Kendall, owned a dojo in Cedar City, which you'd never knew probably. He's a cowboy. Hey guys, let's step away from this conversation real quick, and I wanted to talk to you about a couple things that we have going on at M42 Adventures. First and foremost is the Genesis. That's what we're putting all of our effort into. This is an online community. We actually have 75 members at the time of this recording, and it is growing very fast. We're very excited. We have, I think, 5 or 6 mentors in there teaching everything from finances, travel, mental health, relationships, motorcycles, self-defense, firearms. I mean, we've got a lot going on in there. Outdoor cooking. So these are professionals in this field. This is people who have been doing this for most of their lives that are going to be teaching us about these different things. And we're adding more all the time. So check out the Genesis. It's free for the month of December. And then we will start charging in January because we do have costs associated with it. And that's just the way it works. We hope to see you in there. Check it out. You can go to m42adventures.com and sign up today, and it is completely free for the month of December. Also, I wanted to talk to you about a few experiences we have. We have sold most of them out for next year. We have 5 or 6 going on next year: Costa Rica, Alaska, Hawaii, Utah, and Africa. And we have a couple spots left for Africa. So the rest are all pretty much sold out. But if you want to come to Africa and go on a safari or a photo safari, we'd love to have you. Check it out. You can go to m42adventures.com and read more about that. That's what we got going on. We're excited. We're excited to go into the new year, and we'll start our second year in business. We got a lot of big things planned. We got some really good giveaways going on. And so, yeah, stay tuned. Let's get back to this conversation. And he went and competed around. I never really talked to him much about it. He never really brings it up. It was before I was born, I think, or right around when I was born. But so that was kind of my first experience, was that jiu-jitsu thing. But just being in there we were with 20 men and a couple black belt jiu-jitsu guys, and the lessons and the conversations were almost as cool to me as the actual fighting. Just the respect and the meditation and all these different things that I'm like, wow, this could be really healthy for a person going through some struggles, Absolutely. Physically, mentally, all these different types of things it really breaks you down. And I can't even imagine a competition. That's like a whole nother level. But the fact of just, getting to know yourself better and what you're capable of and all those lessons, I cannot imagine, especially at 13. You're getting such an exposure that I think, is so valuable for the rest of your life, no matter what happens,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I love it. So UFC fighter, what belt are you? You're a green belt, is that right?
Green brown.
Green brown. Okay. Yeah. So how does it work? There's white.
So
I think that's where do you have to buy the white, or will they give it to me? Can I start with the white?
You have to earn it.
Do you?
Yeah. In our dojo, he actually makes you do 3 acts of kindness.
Oh, that's cool.
In order to get your white belt. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That was the very first thing that you'll have to do, because in a lot of dojos, they'll just give you your white belt right off the bat when you get your uniform.
Yeah.
But that was what I actually wanted to ask this earlier, but for me, the main reason why I picked Teague is because going to him and his mindset, he's not teaching us just to fight. He's teaching us how to be better people, how to serve, how to be a protector, and my favorite part is our style is more offensive than it is defense, as much as it is defensive, when a lot of other dojos are mostly defensive.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why, and I was curious of why you chose Teague, and the specific reasons why you chose Achieve as well to be the next future for you to be able to go into accomplish your dreams.
For sure. So right when I joined Achieve, he had just opened a month prior. And his wife was 9 months pregnant, and so anyways, but it was just very like cool to me how he started a business like within like he just moved here and
he's young,
like,
he's starting a family,
he's
he's just
he's doing a lot,
just hustling,
right, for sure. And he was only like 24 at the time, which is insane. And so when my dad found him, like he called him, and just a couple parts of it, he seemed like he really wanted to teach me and help me. And like my first demo is what we call it when we first go to see you, like if it's the right fit. He like just from how he moved and like his demeanor and everything about him, like I could tell like this guy like he knows his stuff. And so like as I continued to go back to the studio, he's not like any instructor I've had. Like they're all pushing with discipline and everything, but he incorporates so much other details into what he's teaching us, like psychology and physics, and it's just like a lot of instruction. And since when I started, I was like one of his first permanent students. He had sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. Yeah. So he's. I love that you said that.
Yeah.
The 3 acts of kindness.
Yeah.
You know, that shows you that he's got a good foundation. You know, like you said, it's not about injuring someone.
No.
And it's about learning the whole. Why are we doing this? What's the purpose of this? It's self-defense, and it's, you know, all these different attributes. And then I like the fact that I didn't know that. Ricky just, you know, hasn't shared that with me, but that I'm excited even more to have a conversation with him. You know, that's a really cool thing.
Yeah. For white belt, though, like he did, he made sure, like he had this paper and it had things you needed to do in order to start there, right? Of course. And so he is like, if you procrastinate in doing something, so it was like cleaning my room, he's like, make sure your room is clean for the next like few weeks so your dad can take you to class. I'm like, cool, okay, I did it. I'll be happy to. And like the acts of kindness, of course, and just like it's a lot more than just fighting with him. And so that really was different and like intrigued me.
Yeah, I think that's a very mature thing for him to be doing, especially at 24 years of age. You know, where he must have had a good sensei as well that taught him some good values. You know, I think people don't realize, and they probably do, but how important and how influential coaches, senseis, you know, these mentors can be. And so I like the fact, like when my little boy, you know, he's 13, he's your age, but little to me, but he goes and plays football, and the coach talks about that, where if you get bad grades in school, you know, you're you know, gonna miss the game. You know, I'm not gonna let you play. Or if you disrespect another person on your team or the other team, you're gonna sit out for a half. You know, and there's all these lessons going on that aren't just football. It's like you got to be a good person. You know, that's the foundation, is be a good person, respect your opponent. You know, try to make the world a better place, and then from there we'll kick some butt, right? So I love that. I think that's very admirable. So that's cool. So UFC, you're well, we were going to talk real quick. So the belts go white.
So for Kempo, because it's different for
it
martial
is?
arts. Yeah, for everyone. Like some have red, some like it, and the orders are all differing. But usually, from my experience, it's usually white, yellow, and then black, like some belts and then black. That's how it usually goes.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
But for Kempo, it's white, yellow, orange, purple, blue, and then blue, green, brown, black.
Oh wow.
But with brown, there's brown prime, so it's like you have to have like a brown with a black stripe, and you have to have it for a certain amount of time to be able to test for your black belt, because like they have to make sure you really are ready for that. So right now I'm 8 out of 10 in the belts, so I'm right before brown.
That's amazing, because we were talking to Kip, right? He's a black belt. Remember, it took him 12 years.
Yeah.
I'm talking to him and I'm like, so you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu. What does that take? You know, a couple of years. And he's like, it took me 12
Yeah.
And I'm like, 12 years. Like, that is a long time of discipline. And I like that. You know, I respect that more. If you could go, you know, get it in a couple hours, it's not as meaningful.
It's nothing, yeah.
But that's wild. I didn't realize there was all those differences. I knew there was different belts, but I thought they were all the same for some reason. But
no. Usually, like,
so you're getting there. I mean, at 13, you're up there.
Yeah, I'm trying to work hard, but yeah, it does take a lot of like willpower and dedication to actually make it to like and continue to practice every day. Like,
100%, 100%. It is, that's why most people don't, you know, they don't get to where they want to go. You know, a lot of people give up and they throw in the towel, you know, and I commend people who don't, you know, because if it was easy, everybody'd be a black belt.
Exactly.
You know, if it was easy, everybody'd be rich, everybody'd be skinny, everybody, you know, and it's like, these are the struggles we all deal with, and that's the battles, you know. And so I respect that at such a young age, you're as mature as you are. You just got a new belt, right, Ricky?
Yeah, I just got my orange on Saturday.
That's awesome. That's cool.
So, one thing I was going to say too is, as far as the fighting style and the way Teague teaches, correct me or put in the information where I want, but Q came from another dojo.
Q's an instructor there?
No, he's
a student.
What belt is he?
Oh, he got his brown around 5-ish months ago, I believe.
Okay, so Teague only has a certain limited time with Q.
Recently, yeah.
But how long you been with Teague specifically?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Well, where she started and where she's at compared to where Q was, and he was a higher ranking belt, she's catching up to him, and she gives him a run for his money, like through and through, because of the style and the way that Teague teaches is way more advanced. I don't know if advanced is the correct word, but way better than a lot of other people are teaching, and it's proven. I mean, look at where she went up against that higher ranking belt in her tournament, and she came out second. I think if she had a little bit more time, I think if she does another tournament, she's going to dominate that, no matter what class or what level that person she's going up against.
Yeah, I had the odds kind of stacked against me because I was recovering from a foot injury as well. So like a lot went into before the competition, and just like anyways, that's not the point I'm trying to make here. But with Q, he's a very good fighter and student, and I do respect him for getting to brown because Teague, he doesn't make any of the tests easy. It doesn't matter your ranking, but brown belt, like, that's usually where a lot of people quit, and
they get that far and give up.
Yeah, that will usually happen. Like, it's usually yellow belt and brown belt is when they quit. Like, that's the most common.
That's wild. I can see yellow because you're just new and you know, get busy or whatever, and
they don't think
your
they
excuses.
Can do it. Yeah, and so,
but brown, that's tough. You know, it must be hard to go from that next leap. Must be a big one.
It's very, very difficult. Yeah, of course. It's at brown you do have to learn all your material left-handed. So, and like with each different section of techniques, because there's DMs, which is it's short for defensive maneuvers, and there's a certain way you have to do it, and so you have to learn it left-handed, all of them. And then forms and Kempos, like, there's so many things that go into, like, once you get your brown belt, that's, like, it's going to take a while. You can't just go straight brown to black like that. It's not the same.
When you said there's different browns. For sure,
so
so they make sure you're going through the... Yeah, that's wild. So UFC, you want to go... UFC. You want... How do you do that? Do you know? Is there a path, or is it like... You know,
to be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'm trying to start young with my training, you know, like, because I did, like, start with training so young, and just
trying to get prepared, and then see what, like, I have some connections with people in the UFC. So also Ryan. Yeah, I know he's
So UFC specifically is basically the NFL of MMA.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So it's like the top tier that everybody
Yeah.
wants to get in, and then there's what championship one or what, I can't remember.
Yeah, I know there's some other ones, but yeah, everybody UFC is that's the one we all watch, right? That's the big show.
For sure.
But yeah, let me talk to a guy who has, I don't have the contacts, but I have a contact who has contacts.
Yeah.
Because it would be good just to
cool.
know,
Just people.
the
right?
direction.
For sure.
I would think just to, because I would love to see that. I would love to help you with that if I can in any way, and see
appreciate
that dream achieved, because that's a big one. But that's the thing I tell my boys. The way I look at life is I do think you can do anything. I do believe that. I think anybody can do anything if they put their mind to it and don't give up. Catch a couple lucky breaks. Obviously you gotta put yourself in the right position at the right time to take advantage of those. But I think what separates most people isn't skill or anything like that. It's just sheer determination.
Yeah.
Just not giving up. Most of the people that I know that are successful in different areas that I've had on this podcast and other things, it's just they're stubborn to a fault. And so that's what I would encourage, is just keep pushing the fight. And I'd love to, if we can ever support you in any way or anything like that, be a sponsor or something, that would be amazing. So are you thinking of another tournament, or what's is there any on the docket, or?
I haven't looked into it recently, but there might be like a Muay Thai Open, or I can't do like kickboxing quite yet because they don't have the division for like 13 female kickboxing. Like you're not
Doesn't
gonna
exist.
find that, right? And most of my training partners are males, so I do go against that quite often, and I do fight Sensei Teague a lot. And so I do have the capability of fighting older, but it's just basic rules, So just as much as I can, I'll try to like work up to that and prepare myself for any competition that I
you're
can
so
get
young.
to.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's the biggest thing, is it's like you have so much time. You found it so early.
I did.
That just, enjoy the ride, just be present, because what you're doing is inspiring, especially like you said, as a girl, it is, I hope my little girl will listen to this someday and be inspired to not think of, I have to do, the stereotypical things that, that are out there,
Yeah.
So find what you enjoy. And I think that's the biggest thing is, M42 Adventures, we have like 30 channels, over 30 channels, mountain biking, golf, self-defense, all these different things. And it's like, try them all. Try all the flavors of ice cream.
Yeah.
You might,
Sure.
chocolate's good, but there might be one out there that's a little better. So, and when you find that thing, I think that's what people don't realize is when you find that passion, like you found, it makes it so much easier to succeed. If you're going out there to do something because of parents' expectations or your friends' expectations, the chances of success are dwindled because you're not in it. Your heart's not in it.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing. I have nothing but respect to you and your dad. I think, you raised a beautiful, intelligent daughter here. So, is there anything you want to add, either one of you guys, to, I want to mention, so it's, what's Teague's dojo? So I don't mess it up.
Achieve
Martial Arts.
Yeah.
Here in St. George, Utah. So it sounds like it's an amazing place, and he'll be on the podcast here later. Anything else you guys want to say to people out there listening to, follow it up?
Lydia, what would you say to a young girl, 5, 6 years old, that's thinking about getting outside of dance and the typical girl?
It's so crazy you say
things.
5 or 6, because my boy just turned 4, my youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I can't see him making decisions. Like that's 6 years old. You thought that's what I want to do. That is
it's a new age.
Amazing.
Kids are literally changing the rules on everything now. Like everything's changing.
It is.
So what would you say to encourage a girl or even a boy that's wanting to get into this, but yet they're like feel this mantra or that
pressure
they need, or pressure that they need to be a dance or cheerleading or anything like that,
or be good at it.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people think. My son when he goes into something, he wants I think that's another problem with our this generation of kids is they want to be good instantly.
Yeah.
And you've realized that it's like, no, you got to go out
takes a
there,
while.
you know, and put in the time. And I try to convey that to my boy. So I would what would you say to people out there that are, you know, stepping into a dojo for the first time? What's that like? Like Ricky said, what's your, you know, kind of get them to try it?
Yeah. It's not like the Bruce Lee movies. It is a lot. It's hard to explain, but
a lot more of the fundamentals, a
yeah.
lot more.
If you're thinking of giving up, when you try out a couple classes, just give it a bit more time, please, dear God, because it takes a little bit to get used to, but once you feel like if it's something that you're truly interested in, your mind will automatically like find a way like to push yourself through it. Like just
give it that chance.
Yeah. Just don't give up. Like you're not going to be good instantly. And black belts fail, and like they've failed more times than the white belt has ever attempted the thing. So like it's very difficult, but just like
it's worth it.
Do what you like, yeah, for sure.
And I think that's what people don't realize. It's like baseball. You know, I don't play baseball at all. My kid's been playing baseball, and it's driving me crazy because it's so boring. But that being said, you know, the best batters in baseball are like 300 averages, right? And I didn't even know what that was, but my buddy was telling me the other day in Minnesota, he's like, that means they hit the ball 1 out of 3 times at bat. Mm-hmm. And those are the greats. You know, it's like Babe Ruth and these people, you know, and it's like, I think people who just think that you're going to go up there and hit every ball at bat or win every tournament, you know, it's like, that's not reality.
Yeah.
And if you can learn how to fail, and then I think the biggest thing is not giving up, but then, you know, just tweaking it, learning more, you know, and not throwing in the towel. So I like that you said that.
So like if you work hard, you know, like that's part of it. It's not just like the experience, but if you work hard, you're and you are gonna fail, but you're gonna get better. Like if you do put in the work, you are bound to get somewhere. Like it's not just
most lessons that I've had in life are in the failures.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, the ones that hurt. You know, you're too young, you're 13, but when you go down to Vegas and you gamble and you win and win and win, you're thinking, oh, I'm a genius. And then you bet $500 and lose it, and you're like, whoa, what happened? You know, like you know, it's like you can get those ones that hit you in the stomach and take your breath away are the best lessons in life most of the time. You know, if you don't quit. And so I think you're inspiring. I'm so glad you came in today. I'm going to have my 2 boys, my older boys, for sure listen to this. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule to come down here. Is there anything else you want to add at all, Mark?
Yeah, well, one quick note. I think as a parent, it's important to let your kids know that it's okay and actually expected to eat it from time to time.
Absolutely.
And to set the stage so that they feel like they're still loved, accepted. Everything is on that side is unconditional. This is just an event.
Temporary.
And I think that's something Lydia has learned over and over again. And that dedication to keep going, even when it's hard, even when it's raining, even when it's cold, you know, whatever it is that we create these artificial boundaries. I think as parents, it's important to be supportive, but to give them the narrative that they need to keep going. Instead of congratulating them for crossing the street, congratulate them for their effort and for getting back up on the horse one more time after you get knocked down. And Lydia's done a great job of that. And I think for those people considering martial arts, and certainly girls and females in general, where it's not a traditional approach, I think sky's the limit. If you go in and put in the dedication, at the very least, you'll have a better sense of yourself, your values, your limitations, and your opportunities. And I think that's something that's so powerful about martial arts in general.
And I completely agree. I think people don't realize, I always say, like, the side effects of some of these things are, like you said, the mental aspect, the physical aspect. If nothing else, you know, you're in better shape. You learn how to solve problems. You make friendships. You know, that's the other thing that I'm sure a lot of your best relationships are through this martial arts.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
so, people out there who, it's like maybe it's not just a fight or something like that, but, self-defense, the community, the physical aspect, the mental aspect. It's like you get so much from these things that we put our time and energy into that are side effects that we don't even think of as the point. I go on a lot of hunting trips, you can see in my office. and it's not about necessarily the animal for me at all. It's about being with people that I like being around. It's bringing sustenance home to my family, things like that, it's like that's where a lot of the rewards come, and people don't even think about those.
Yeah.
And so I think it's inspiring. I'm sure lots of people out there will as well. So I think it's really cool. I think you're just, you're a trailblazer, to be 13 and a woman, been into martial arts. And I just think it's inspiring. I love it. And I think your approach, Mark, as well, is dead on. So
Thank you.
keep it up. Let's stay in touch and let us know if we can be a part of it in any way.
Of course.
Anything else you want to add, Ricky?
I just wanted to say thank you very much, Mark, for allowing Lydia to be on the podcast. Because when I approached you and said, would you be interested in letting Lydia be on it? And then just your answer, totally blew me away. It was like, let me, check it out. Let me see what your website is. Let me look at a couple of podcasts. And that just right there let me know right away that you were a great father and that you have her best interests at heart. So I appreciate you very much for allowing her to be on here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy to be here, and thanks very much.
Yeah, that's a good point. We want to get, M42 is men, women, and youth, and that's when Ricky said, I have a youth, a young girl. I was like, yeah, let's do that, because I want people to realize that this is for family.
Yeah.
We're trying to do these experiences all over the world and here in town and all these different things. We just did a firearm shoot 2 weeks ago. We had 7 or 8 youth, 12 and older, and then we had 6 women. And it's like we want to teach all these different skills and things to everybody, and it's not just for men or whatever it is out there. So good point, Ricky. I appreciate it, Mark. I appreciate you guys both being here, and hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
you too.
thanks, guys. All right, so there you have it, man. That was a great conversation. She's, as you heard, just a very mature girl for 13 years old. Been doing martial arts for 7-8 years now. Her dad, I 100% agree with his philosophies on how he's raising her. So that was a very, very good interview, conversation. I did not know how that was going to go, to be honest. As a man, I didn't know how it would be to interview a 13-year-old girl, and I'm glad we did it. I'm very glad we did it. There was a lot of good things in there, even for me as an older man, just hearing how somebody, as a parent especially, I'm going to take a lot of these tidbits and apply them to my own sons and coming new daughter. And there's a lot that I've learned about martial arts. I think that the reason she is so mature has a lot to do with being in martial arts and being taught and trained and around all these people that are trying to influence her in a good way, not just physically trying to defend herself or to fight, but to grow and be more mature and more responsible. So that was a great conversation. Hopefully you got something out of that can inspire you or those around you to go sign up, join in an activity, karate, mountain biking, whatever it may be. Get out there, get outside, get off the screens, engage, build relationships, level up, and your life will be more full. And I'm glad. It's cool to see such a young person get that at such a young age. Very inspiring for me. Her dad, Mark, has done a wonderful job raising a beautiful young woman. So thank you, Mark and Lydia, for coming on. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again on next Friday, M42 Adventures.